What's up everyone, it's your boy Mekel Kasanova coming at you with yet another video. And in this one I'm going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch. And basically, I'm going to give you my review of the unit I have, my impressions, gameplay footage, and just generally what I think of it. And why I think you, if you can, should immediately get this. As Nintendo used to say, get in or get out. And basically, if you haven't already had the chance to do so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date on the latest and greatest content that will be coming from my channel, as well as my group, Polytex. And if you haven't already, definitely check out my Patreon. Patreon helps keep my channel afloat. If a lot of people think that us YouTubers make a lot of money off of YouTubers, and unless your name is PewDiePie, or some other major YouTuber out there, or MKBHD, then you don't. So definitely, it always helps us. So if you want to make donations or help out the channel to get more content or review different items or whatnot for equipment, definitely go ahead and hit us up on Patreon. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys more of this, the game you need to be playing, and basically give you a hands-on of the Nintendo Switch. So, without further ado, play my intro music.
Do you wanna dance? Yeah! Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on,
Many may wonder, what makes the Nintendo Switch so special, given that it's truly nothing like everything else that's out there. Now, I'm going to bring the question back home with this. What's the difference between an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and PC? One has Uncharted, one has Halo, and the other has the exclusive group of PC games from Steam. One, a couple of your friends might own. The other, they probably don't. One's a big black box. One's a smaller black box. And those two black boxes sit on your TV. And the other is a giant tower, or a small tower, that sit next to your monitor. The Nintendo Switch is not like those consoles or that PC, and this is what makes it so special. The idea behind the Switch is incredibly simple. It's truly a gaming machine that plays as well at home as it does on the go. One console that basically rules them all. It's what the Wii U was aiming for, and it failed. Very much so it failed. It spectacularly fell short. This time, Nintendo has got it spot on. The hardware is immensely fun to handle, and the games, so far, with the exception of 1-2 Switch, are very stellar. This is a Nintendo console we're talking about here. And before we get to all the ups and downs, let's talk about the biggest reservation you should have for the Switch. What you'll be able to play on it. Thus far, the console has Nintendo's Holy Trinity of Zelda, Mario Kart, and Super Mario. These are all lined up for the first 9 months of the Switch. Even though Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is purely a remake, and Breath of the Wild can also be bought for the Wii U, this is still a monumental deal. Nintendo's big guns are all going to be on the Switch by Christmas, and they'll be best enjoyed on that console thanks to its added power and portability. Plus, they're set to be joined by several very popular third-party titles as well, such as Minecraft, Skyrim, FIFA, Street Fighter, and more. You know, whether you're an adult, a big kid, or small, you'll have plenty to play on Switch by the time December hits. So what about the launch lineup of just 12 games? Honestly, I don't think it's something you should be worried about. And a lot of people like to complain about the fact that they feel there's only 4 games at launch. Well, we're also having to look at the fact that there are digital games as well. So one of those games is the absolutely enormous Breath of the Wild. And the rest are pretty good as well. Quality is what's important here, not the quantity. And what you get from the likes of Snipper Clips, which I highly recommend, Shovel Knight, Torment of Spectre, and Fast RMX, as well as what I truly love, I Am Setsuna. These are games you should own. So go ahead and download them now. Speaking of someone who bought a Wii U at launch, third-party support in 2017 going further is a far greater concern. Nintendo's last console hit stores alongside the likes of Batman Arkham City, FIFA 13, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and after the first year or so, players looking for something non-Nintendo had to settle for Bayonetta 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles X, which ultimately are Nintendo since they own those franchises. Well, the alternative was to buy a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Now, what's worse still is that the most notable game that Nintendo released for its flagship last year was Star Fox Zero. And that was utter garbage. Garbage. Will things be different this time around? And you know what? I'm just optimistic that it will be. A slew of developers and publishers have all said that Nintendo is working on the console third-party support. And with the people behind everything from Call of Duty, Dark Souls, Rocket League, Street Fighter, and more. So even more significantly, Nintendo is expected to be pooling the majority of its Wii U and 3DS development teams into one to ensure a steady stream of first-party exclusives. Now, this may be beating a dead horse, but I'm going to go back, say 1999 back, and say that Sega's Dreamcast proved to that making a great console doesn't guarantee people will make lots of great games for it. But the fact remains that the Switch's hardware really is brilliant. More than a machine that nails Nintendo's Play Anywhere concept, it exceptionally is well made, and the kind of console that you want to spend time with. I just can't see this thing gathering dust under my TV, in my living room, or in my bedroom, or in my office, or in the Go, or anywhere. Not when I can sneak in some hours, or a couple minutes here and there, of Breath of the Wild, I Am Setsuna, or Snipper Clips with a coworker or family or my wife. A large part of this pick-up and play appeal is thanks to the Switch's classic build. Rather than sticking with the cheap, shiny plastic that the Nintendo has been running with since the Wii and Wii U, this particular console is made from glass, metal, and matte plastic. It's a premium machine, which is just as well given it's more expensive to buy than any other portable and most home consoles that are available. Design-wise, the Switch is laid out in the same manner as a PlayStation Vita or as a Game Boy Advance, with its Joy-Con controllers slapped on either side of the 6.2-inch touchscreen. And despite not being capable of full HD, which I guess standard has changed since a lot of people are saying that 720 is not HD standard, when in reality it kinda is. But I digress. This 720p display is an absolute delight. Big, bright, and capable of some stunning contrast and colors. It makes Breath of the Wild look every bit as good in the palm of your hands as it does on the big screen TV, be it 1080 or 4K. Either way, it looks great. Although text can sometimes appear a little small on the portable side, otherwise I can't fault this. Whereas playing a game on the Wii U's gamepad had you itching to get back to your TV after, say, an hour or less of use. This is comfortable to use while traveling or while your better half enjoys a big screen instead, or in my case, We're both on our Switches. She's on a TV playing the Switch, and I'm playing it portably. At 295 grams, the Switch doesn't weigh down your hands. And while its battery life between 3 or 6 hours, depending on what game you're playing, can handle a long-ish type of journey without running empty. You don't need to be holding the Switch to play it away from the TV either. Simply flick out the kickstand, and it's on its backside, and then hook up to one of the console's controllers, and of which you've got a fair few to choose from. And let's not forget, cartridges are back with the Switch. Why, you may ask? That portability factor. Think about it. They're about the size of an SD card and slot right into the top of the console under a flap. Don't blow on them if they're struggling to load though. That still won't fix anything. And also don't lick them because they taste horrible. From the Wii Mote to the Nintendo 64's Rumble Pack, Nintendo loves making unique controllers and that are inventive and add-ons to go with them. The Switch does absolutely nothing to buck this trend. But crucially, the Joy-Cons, and whichever grips you were to get from Amazon or in-store, and the Switch Pro controller are all up to scratch. The Joy-Cons are the two controllers that you actually get in the box with the Switch, and they're usually going to sit on either side of the Switch's screen. If you're playing a console in handheld mode, that's where they'll stay as well, although you play through most games using both Joy-Cons in tandem. They share the same generous inputs, a control stick, and 6 buttons sit on top of each pad, while 2 triggers sit on top, and if you detach them from the main Switch, there are also 2 more buttons placed on their side. And you know what? I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a lot of buttons. Truthfully, in practice, they're almost exactly the same number that you get from a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One pad. And because of the Switch's portable nature, its buttons are smaller than what you get from a standard home console controller. And they have to be, since, there's less travel as well. Basically, they're on par with what you get from a 3DS. So using them all in tandem still, for me and my wife, comes naturally. Even when you're having to see off a horde of bloodthirsty bobkins and mobkins and whatever other monsters you're fighting in Breath of the Wild during a blood moon, spoiler, as well as being packed to the rafters with inputs, each Joy-Con has several motion sensors built in. Slide them out of the console, and they basically worked as a revamped Wii mode that's super lightweight and tucks them right into the palm of your hands. They barely feel there when you're playing mini games such as Bonanza from 1-2 Switch, or if you're playing Breath of the Wild or Snipper Clips. And that's a really good thing if you enjoy the sight of your friends or family trying to pull off ludicrous dance moves and Just Dance 2017, or just pretend to be a Grillo. The only time you really notice you're holding a Joy-Con is when their HD rumble kicks in. Realistically, this feature could have easily been called slightly better than normal rumble, as it allows you to differentiate between subtle vibrations. And truthfully, I doubt that they would have gotten past Nintendo's marketing department though. Anyway, the important thing is that the HD rumble works and you can crack a safe in 1-2 Switch by telling the difference between the two. So far, that's the Switch's only game to use the feature though. So, what's so inducingly brilliant about the Joy-Cons is that they ensure the Switch is multiplayer ready from the moment you unbox it. No other system you can buy nowadays, or within the last 20 years, comes with 2 controllers. You usually buy the console, you have to buy an extra $60 or $70 controller if you want multiplayer. Since each one of these Joy-Cons can be used as a basic separate controller, you don't have to buy a second set to invite a friend or family member around for a game of 1-2 Switch or Super Bomberman R, or soon Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They'll have to invest a distant and now deceased or apocalyptically important work presentation to avoid your company. Finally, a quick note on the wireless syncing issues. Some users, or maybe a lot more since this video, have experienced with their left Joy-Cons a desyncing issue. And honestly, I kind of thought by the Switch's day one patch that would have been fixed. Apparently that hasn't. As much as the Switch's portability is a ace in the hole, the thing that makes it totally distinct from the Xbox One S and PlayStation 4, you'll likely use it more when slouched in front of your TV. To that end, Nintendo has bundled another peripheral that went in with the Switch, which is the Joy-Con grip. The idea behind it is idiot-proof. You put these two into your two Joy-Cons, strap them on, that's it. Since the Joy-Con grip is a product of handheld compromise, its buttons are squished together and its plastic handles are relatively shallow. Not so much that you'll end up pressing the wrong button at a crucial moment, or find the grip slipping on your fingers, but given the choice, I much prefer to play at home with the $69.99 Pro Controller. Essentially, the Xbox One S's pad remade for Switch, right down to those extra grippy handles. It gives you bigger buttons with greater travel and simply a lot more to hold on to. It's also rechargeable, and the battery life for my own testing is 40 hours without needing another charge. That's not the case with the Joy-Con grip. At least not the one that comes packed in with the Switch. And one of the most cash grabs that's been done by Nintendo, they're also selling a Joy-Con charging grip separately for about $30. It's no different than the standard Joy-Con grip, except it'll top up the battery of the standard 20 hours over USB Type-C. So thanks to a combination of profiteering and ergonomics, the Joy-Con grip you get with the Switch is actually the third best way to play the console at home. Ideal? Maybe. So, the Switch is said by Nintendo to have a battery life of up to 6 hours. That's only when tasked with playing a thoroughly respectable performance of just 3 hours of Breath of the Wild. It's still enough stamina to last almost any daily commute and a very similar performance to what you get from Nintendo's 3DS XL and Sony's PlayStation Vita. In other words, I wouldn't understand the point of complaining about battery life. Especially as you can keep the thing charged up over a long distance using a portable battery pack. Just plug the thing into its USB Type-C port and it'll start sipping up that spare juice. Otherwise, you recharge the Switch using either its dock or a USB Type-C adapter. So, while this is another area I'm going to talk about that doesn't really get the same level of positivity, straight out of the box, you'll be able to use about 25.9 gigabytes of the 32 gigs of memory that's on the Switch. If you choose to download Breath of the Wild instead of buying a box edition, they'll take up about 13.4 gigabytes of storage. Basically, you're going to have to buy a micro SD card for the Switch if you want to use Nintendo's eShop. And that is frankly ridiculous. At least an extra storage option that isn't too expensive would be nice. However, you can currently pick up a 128 gigabyte SD card for about $49, give or take. And that should be enough to see through the Switch's lifespan, hopefully. For what feels like a premium console, it's a shame that Nintendo had to cheap out on this. They could have at least gave us 500 gigs, but I understand that if they were to incorporate a NAND flash drive, or not flash drive, but NAND SSD, that would have significantly increased the price of the Switch. Although they should have given a 128 or 256 gig option out of the box. Beyond changing how titles are rendered from 720p in handheld mode to full HD of 1080 on TV, There's not all that much else that the Switch's dock does. Stick the Switch console in it and it takes up an astonishingly small amount of real estate at just about 23.9 centimeters in width and 12.4 centimeters in height. Compared to the gargantuan PS4 Pro, which is so big it sits on the floor next to my television, you basically have no problem finding space for the Switch in its dock. Ports, you may ask? It packs in of HDMI, USB Type-C power, and 3 USB ports. So, one's a USB 3.0, which is next to the HDMI and a USB Type-C, and the other are USB 2.0s. You're meant to use a micro SD card here instead for storage, so don't forget about that. The later ports are exclusively for charging your Pro Controller, or Joy-Con charging grip at that moment. Ultimately, the dock is a very simple bit of kit, and its greatest strength. Slide in front of your Switch and playing on your TV straight away is totally fuss-free. Just as well, really, you're going to be doing it a lot with this console. If you were in any doubt that the Switch is a games machine and games machine only, then that illusion won't last long once you've turned it on. Basically, it takes cues from Sony's system software for PlayStation 4. The Switch's own operating system gives you a sense of big tiles to choose a game from, while some smaller dots are placed underneath them so that you can access stuff such as Nintendo's eShop and console settings. It's truly an uncluttered setup that's quick to work your way around. Or in other words, it's the complete mirror image or complete mirror opposite of what the Wii U users had to put up with. That thing lagged like hell. If the price of this change is not having a gaggle of me's running around my, TV screen uttering insane superlatives about the latest Mario game, then I'm very much okay with that. The Switch makes it easier to play the games you own. The Nintendo Switch for Nintendo is truly a gamble of monumental proportions. Will it have enough games over the course of its lifespan? Within the first year, Nintendo is guaranteed 100 titles, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Will its online service turn out to be a dud? We don't know. There will be a pay-to-play feature down the road where you'll pay for a subscription, which will give you some added bonuses, like a free NES and SNES game every month. We'll see when that comes. Will the hidden costs of ownership, such as an extra microSD storage and a Pro Controller, turn people off of owning one? Honestly, a lot of people have complained about the price of the Pro Controller, and I countered that argument by saying, you know what? When you bought an Xbox One and PlayStation 4, you spent about $50 to $70 on an extra controller with that. So the Switch's Pro Controller price is not that bad. Although the Joy-Con, the extra Joy-Cons, that's questionable. What I can tell you is that the Switch ranks among Nintendo's very best consoles. Its Play Anywhere concept is inventive in a way you'll actually appreciate. Zelda Breath of the Wild is absolutely essential, and most importantly, pretty much what everyone I've handed to has had a blast playing. By going all in with a 2-in-1 machine, Nintendo has captured people's imaginations in a way that hasn't been done since the Wii. To hold their attention, it'll need to ensure that the Switch doesn't burn out in its first 12 months of existence. So, should you buy one? For Nintendo fans, that's a no-brainer. Yes. For everyone else, that's a no-brainer. Buy it right now. And I mean right now. If you can. The Switch is brimming with promise. It's totally unique. And in my opinion, well worth celebrating and getting. That just about wraps it up for this video, guys, about the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't already, definitely go out and try to get one. I highly recommend it. This system is amazing, and I definitely see everyone getting many hours of enjoyment, fun for themselves and with family or friends. It's definitely something that is super lightweight. I love the 720p screen on it. It's super bright and vibrant, as you guys can see. I love how when you dock it, it goes to 1080 resolution. And just the portability and battery life, despite what people hate on it, saying that the battery life is garbage, you know what? For a 720 screen and for a full console experience on the go, this is definitely what you want to get. So, as I said, if you guys want to get one, I'll leave a link in the description below when it comes in stock. It'll be through my Amazon affiliate link. And yeah, if you guys want to get anything that's in the video, any of the games, they'll also be in the link. And I'll go ahead and catch you guys in the next one. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Check out my Patreon channel if you want to help the channel grow. And yeah, I want to also thank a lot of you guys. We're almost at 400 subscribers. I intended to do a video of thanking everyone for hitting 350 subscriber mark, but unfortunately when that happened, I was already on my honeymoon. I'm actually still on my honeymoon with my wife and I. We got married this past weekend on March 4th, so we're still on honeymoon mode, and I just want to go ahead and get you guys this video out. So yep, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces, wow.
Everybody drinks on me. Everybody in this bitch drink for free. Give me a whiskey double. A little bit of Jack is always trouble. And I'm feeling good, like the man with the lady proof and read this wood. Next up, straight to the DJ. Tell him play whatever songs that she say. Her body is a misdemeanor. Dangerous, but I